Do you want to be a better dungeon master? Stupid question, of course you do. Hello, it's me again. Last time we saw each other, I gave you my guide for how to write a good D&D campaign, and you were all really nice about it. So, genuine thanks for that, it absolutely made my day. This time, instead of telling you how to do your job, I wanted to give you the resources to do your job better. DMing is weird, because no one tells you how to do it or where to get all the stuff you need. And sadly, I'm not omniscient, but I do have a fair catalogue of tools I use to make the process of actually running my D&D campaigns a whole lot smoother. A lot of these tips will be for those of you running games online, but there is a section for you brave in-person dungeon masters later. So whether you're just starting out, or a forever DM looking for some extra resources, I have got you covered. So, let's say hypothetically you've written your story, but you don't know the actual mechanics of what the monsters can do, or what your NPCs can do, or how to structure a fair fight. Let me introduce you to Kobold Fight Club. This resource is amazing. It lets you sort every monster in the game by their type, difficulty, and where they might be found. On the left here, there's this XP tracker, so you can select how many players you have and what level they are, and then it shows you how tough your encounter will be. It also takes into account numbers and action economy, and daily XP goals to show how much pain you should be putting your players through. I use it all the time, I couldn't live without it. Now to find these monsters' actual stat blocks, D&D Beyond has a very wide selection of their basic monster types free to use, and you can purchase the source books for even more. But what if you don't want to spend 150 quid on all that, especially for a first time DM? Well, keep it hush hush, but there's AideD&D, which has almost all the other stat blocks that D&D Beyond doesn't have here in simply written formats. There's also D&D Wiki, which can tell you your capabilities for every species and class to exist, so that your NPCs are never left trying to work out what they can do. My general process, if I don't already know what monsters I want to use, is to read over some D&D lore for what plan I have, find the monsters appropriate for difficulty and location on KFC, and then pull up their stats from one of these supporting websites. Remember that not all monsters are created equal. Their challenge ratings might be the same, but a Rakshasa's claw attack does not equal a dragon's breath weapon attack, so use some common sense. Players, where's the tabletop? My go-to preference will always be Roll20. Its mechanics are simple to use, and it has some great compatibility. There's also Foundry, which is a more advanced system that requires slightly better hardware to run, but we're making D&D for everyone, so for now I'm going to stick with Roll20. You can import background assets, battle maps, sound effects, handouts, track initiative, and even choose what your players can and cannot see. To make this even smoother, if your players make their character sheets in D&D Beyond, you can use the Google plugin called Beyond20, which allows them to roll all their stats at the click of a button. There's no need to type /roll 7d8+4 when your paladin hits a smite. You can just press the attack button in D&D Beyond, and Beyond20 will do all the work for you. This will dramatically speed up how fast combat rounds go, and that's essential for every D&D game. To enhance your tabletop experience, you should likely all be in a Discord call, and you can even share audio with a Spotify listening party, which you can control to kick into the dramatic music at the right moments. This provides the best experience for free that you can all do without going around to each other's house. So on Roll20, we've got this import button, but where are we getting all these aforementioned battle maps, visuals, and tokens? Firstly, a great place for your tokens is 2-Minute Tabletop, where you can search in whatever you like and find almost any type of creature under the sun. You can even customize the way they look to suit your specific requirements. If your world for some reason has orcs that are all red, 2-Minute Tabletop has got you sorted. But if you don't like having the little person tokens because they always have to be facing one direction to look good, try downloading Tokentool. This handy dandy little app lets you place images inside little circular borders to create simplistic tokens. These work really well if your players have got reference art of their characters and you want to make tokens for them, or if you have a very unique monster asset unavailable or unsuited to other token websites. Making your own reference art if you're not an artist can be a bit tricky, so consider learning the basics of Heroforge. For free, you can create, pose, and paint your own virtual minis, screenshot them, and make them into tokens for visual references. For battle maps, Google is your friend. Look, right, they can't all be hidden secrets. Googling place name battle map will find you endless options for you to download. You can also use Inkarnate to make your own simple maps for the players to fight on, or even world maps as reference images for your homebrew setting. Lastly, sometimes you just want a reference image on screen while your players are role-playing, to set the mood for a tavern, a mountain town, or a dragon's keep. I tend to browse ArtStation for this. The work people make there is beautiful, and it's where I found this tavern I sometimes squat in. Lastly, if you're brave enough to leave the comfort of your own home, or to invite people into it, you need some in-person tools. Go out to your friendly local game store and get yourself some dice, and maybe even some minis if they have them on stock. Warhammer stores are also a fantastic resource. Their variety of paints are amazing and means you can also pick up the hobby of mini painting between your sessions. For cheaper options, you can always use standard paint from your local DIY shop and order a bunch of batches of minis online to fill out your roster. For your battle map, you can get a flipbook of large maps to use, tiles to place pieces together, or you can get one of these dry white battle map boards that you can draw on your own little maps in real time. They're really good if your players like getting into fights in random places. It is important to say, D&D is so much fun in person that you can get away with doing things a bit more stripped down. For example, back in university, I drew battle map grids on notepad paper and used football strikers, bobbleheads, Monopoly pieces and chess sets to represent my players and my monsters. You can even make little cutouts from paper and cardboard and make your own minis from reference images. There is a genuine charm in playing D&D with the bare minimum because it lets imagination fill in the gaps. And then to add a little ambiance, Spotify playlists work just fine, but so does Pocket Bard. This app plays loops of fantasy ambience for music of all different types and themes. You can even add spooky whispers and background chatter, and you can change the intensity of the scene with these sliders. Lastly for you in-person DMs, snacks. And drinks. And comfy cushions to sit on. My back hurts. Yep, that's it. This guide had a lot less narrative structure than the last one, but I feel like everything needs some sort of conclusion and wrap-up. So in this particular case, I conclude that Kobold Fight Club is amazing, D&D Beyond and Beyond 20 removes 90% of online game stress, and that painting cheap minis is extremely therapeutic and you should all try it. I also conclude that there are lots of resources available, but some of them are expensive. We don't all always have the money to buy every sourcebook and order our own Heroforge custom painted minis. Getting into the hobby doesn't have to be expensive, as it's a game all about imagination. I hope that you've learned at least one new resource from all of this, and it helps to enhance your D&D experience. I have obviously spent my money and sold my soul to WotC for my eldritch D&D knowledge, but I did that so that you don't have to. I'm sure there are also plenty of resources I'm not aware of, but these all work for me, and they're cheap, so anyone can do them. One last thing, these videos are really fun to make, but this channel going by the crap alias I made up 15 years ago isn't going to cut it anymore. But the initials are emblazoned into my face, so instead, we'll be calling this place Shiny Gold Dice. So subscribe or whatever if you like D&D, and I hope to see you next time.